The roar of Rome swells like the ocean, tens of thousands chanting for blood beneath a sky blazing bronze. From his marble seat, Emperor Domitian raises a jeweled hand, his face impassive as the crowd trembles in anticipation. Below, sand glitters over stains of old death, and beneath the arena floor, the gears and pulleys of the hypogeum grind like the breathing of a buried god. Marcus Valerius Drusus stands in the shadow of the Colosseum's arches, watching as the trapdoors rise and fall with mechanical precision. His own creation, his triumph, and his torment. Yet, something feels wrong. The air from below is colder than stone should breathe. He hears it. A sound not of iron or beast, but of something whispering. Not words, but hunger. As the first gladiator falls, the ground beneath him trembles, and Marcus wonders if Rome's greatest monument was built not to honor life, but to feed something beneath it. Night descends over Rome like spilled ink. The Colosseum looms silent, its torches flickering along corridors slick with dew. Marcus remains long after the crowds have gone, descending stone steps into the bowels of his creation. The roar of the crowd lingers like a ghost, fading to the slow drip of water echoing from unseen depths. He runs his hand along a wall and feels warmth where there should be cold. From behind an iron grate, air moves, rhythmic, deliberate, like breath. Somewhere below, something shifts the chains. And for the first time, Marcus feels the weight of what he built pressing down upon his soul. At dawn, the city awakens in gold and dust, oblivious to the chill creeping through the Colosseum's bones. Livia Aemilia arrives beneath its gates, scrolls tucked in her satchel, eyes sharp with curiosity. She has been sent by the Senate to chronicle the games. But what she seeks lies elsewhere. Meeting Marcus near the subterranean entrance, she listens as he speaks of cold winds and trembling stone. Her reply is calm. Perhaps the ground remembers what it was forced to forget. Together they descend, the world above fading with every step. The deeper they go, the less the air feels like air at all. It's heavy, thick with unseen weight. The tunnels narrow and inscriptions appear, not Latin, but something older, carved deep into the stone as though resisting time itself. Livia traces them with her fingers. The markings pulse faintly, like veins under skin. Marcus warns her to stop, but in that moment, both hear something, the whisper again, now clear enough to form a word. Return. Far above, Domitian watches from his private chamber, gazing into the empty arena through thin curtains of silk. Cassius Severus kneels beside him, speaking of omens, of how the earth beneath Rome stirs when blood is spilled. Domitian's eyes narrow, both fearful and fascinated. If Rome's gods grow restless, he murmurs, then we will remind them who rules. Below them, unseen, Marcus and Livia reach the final descent, where torchlight ends and the stone breathes cold. The descent begins not with sound, but with silence, the kind that swallows torches and turns breath into smoke. Marcus leads, his lamp trembling as if reluctant to shine. Behind him, Livia's sandals scrape against stone slick with centuries of forgotten blood. The passage bends, narrowing until even sound seems afraid to move forward. From above, faint vibrations drift down, like echoes of the crowd. Yet no games are held tonight. Marcus pauses, pressing his palm to the wall, and feels a rhythm beneath it, a steady pulse, ancient and patient. This isn't Rome's foundation, he whispers, voice hollow in the dark. This is something older. The flame flutters. Somewhere far below, a chain clinks once and stops. The tunnel widens into a vaulted chamber where pillars rise like petrified trees, carved with grotesque faces half worn by time. The air smells of iron and ash. Livia kneels to study the carvings, men bowing before serpentine figures, offering bowls of blood. Marcus watches, unable to look away, realizing that this architecture predates Rome itself. Gaius tugs at his cloak, pointing to a fresco where the serpent's mouth opens beneath a familiar structure, the Colosseum. The implication chills him. The arena was not built above a temple. It was built as one. Above them, Titus Flavianus walks the empty corridors of the Colosseum, the echo of his footsteps mingling with the groans of wooden beams. He carries a torch and a dagger, uneasy in the silence left by the vanished slaves. He has heard the stories that beneath the arena, the ground opens on its own some nights. He stops at a barred gate leading down and hesitates. The torch flickers blue. The smell that rises from below is not death, but decay beyond death. Sweet, ancient, and wrong. He whispers to no one. By the gods, what did we build? Deep beneath, the group reaches an antechamber where the walls shift subtly, as if breathing. Carvings here are newer, recent additions showing imperial symbols intertwined with serpents. Livia's voice trembles as she reads aloud, an inscription naming Domitian himself as the Keeper of the Deep. Marcus feels the weight of realization crash over him. The Emperor has known all along. Gaius steps forward, pointing toward an altar carved from obsidian, still wet with something dark. In the silence, the whisper comes again, this time from all directions. Freeing me. Back in the Emperor's palace, Domitian listens to Cassius Severus speak of omens, of a pulse rising beneath the arena, of whispers seeping through the walls. The Emperor's expression darkens. Let it rise, he murmurs. If it demands blood, Rome shall feed it. Outside, thunder rumbles over the city. Beneath the Colosseum, Marcus feels the tremor return. Stronger now, vibrating through his bones. The torchlight flares white, and in that flash he sees, not shadows, but shapes. Thousands of faces pressed into the stone, all screaming silently. The torch sputters as Marcus presses deeper into the labyrinth, the air thick with dust and incense. The passage ends in a circular hall where the floor is carved with concentric rings that shimmer faintly in lamplight. Livia kneels, her hand trembling over an inscription naming Rome's founders as keepers of an ancient covenant. The realization strikes them. This place was not discovered by the Empire. It was inherited. Marcus whispers that the arena's design mirrors the rings before them, as if the Colosseum above were built to focus power downward. A low hum rises from the stone, vibrating through their feet. The whispering voice returns, soft yet commanding. You remember. Far above, Titus paces before the gladiators' cells. He orders his men to bar every entrance to the Hypogeum, yet the locks rattle as though struck from within. His courage falters when he hears chanting echoing through the stone. Low, rhythmic, and utterly inhuman. He realizes it is not coming from below, but from within the walls. A lantern bursts, showering sparks across the corridor. Titus falls to his knees, clutching the dagger at his belt, whispering a prayer to Mars that dies in his throat. In that silence, he hears a name breathed beside his ear. His own. Marcus and Livia find a stairwell descending farther than logic allows. The air grows colder. Frost spreads across the stones. At its base lies a vast chasm bridged by narrow planks and ancient ropes. Beneath, an abyss gleams faintly red as if lit from within. Livia leans over and sees structures, arches, columns, entire cities entombed in the depths. She gasps that Rome was not the first empire. It was the last to forget. Marcus grips her arm as the voice rises again, layered and echoing. Blood built the world. Blood shall wake it. The bridge shudders. In the palace, Domitian gazes into a bronze mirror, veined with blood-colored cracks. Cassius stands behind him, chanting verses from forbidden texts. The Emperor demands to see the god that promised him immortality. The mirror darkens. A faint outline appears. A crowned figure formed of smoke and eyes. Cassius falls prostrate. Domitian reaches toward the glass, his reflection smiling back with a stranger's expression. From the depths of the palace, a tremor answers. And far beneath the arena, Marcus and Livia feel the same quake surge through the stone. The god stirs. Beneath the Colosseum, the hum becomes a roar. The runes ignite, flooding the chamber in blinding light. Marcus shouts for Livia to run, but she refuses. Her scholar's mind sees revelation, not danger. The carvings twist, forming visions of every life the arena has taken. Thousands of faces wail within the glow. Gaius screams soundlessly, dropping the lamp. Shadows rise from the floor, spiraling upward like smoke given life. Livia cries out that the god beneath is not dead, it has been fed. The light implodes, leaving only darkness and the echo of breathing all around them. The tremors have not stopped. The Colosseum groans like a wounded beast, dust raining from the arches. Marcus and Livia climb from the depths into the lower galleries, breath ragged, chased by the thunder of shifting stone. Behind them, Gaius limps, blood darkening his tunic. The corridors twist, familiar paths now alien. They emerge into the arena just as dawn bleeds over Rome. The stands are empty, yet the air quivers with phantom applause. From below, red light seeps through the cracks. Livia turns to Marcus, whispering that the god beneath no longer sleeps. The ground splits, and from its fissure rises heat like a heartbeat, ancient, unstoppable. In the emperor's palace, Domitian storms through halls, trembling with aftershocks. Cassius follows, chanting fragments of prayer that sound more like pleas. It rises because you fed it, he warns. Domitian's eyes gleam with madness. Then Rome shall rule eternity. He orders the priests to the Colosseum, intent on sealing the pact in blood. As he strides into the light, lightning flares above the city, framing him like a god ascending. Yet behind his confidence lurks fear. He hears the voice now too, whispering his name, promising him a throne not of marble but of bone. The sky blackens by mid-morning. Marcus and Livia drag Gaius through the gates as thunder splits the heavens. They find Titus, armor half-fastened, sword drawn, terror naked on his face. He admits that half his men vanished into the Hypogeum at dawn, pulled screaming into the dark. Together they turn toward the emperor's approaching procession. Domitian enters the arena surrounded by torches and priests, chanting in tones that shake the stones. Marcus shouts for him to stop. The god cannot be controlled. But Domitian only smiles. Then, watch as Rome commands death itself. As Domitian chants, the ground bursts open. A column of light and dust erupts, throwing men and stone into the air. From the chasm rises a vast silhouette, neither human nor beast, crowned with serpentine coils of flame. Cassius collapses, crying that the offering is complete. Livia screams that they must close the circle. Marcus grabs the emperor's fallen staff, thrusting it into the glowing fissure. The light fractures, slicing through the arena in ribbons of fire. Domitian staggers backward, face twisted with disbelief as the entity turns its gaze upon him, his ambition answered by its hunger. The god's roar becomes a storm. Lightning slashes the sky, striking the Colosseum's crown. Marcus pulls Livia and Gaius toward the exits, shouting that the circle is breaking. Domitian staggers forward, arms wide, crying that he is Rome's eternal soul. The creature bends toward him, its form collapsing into a vortex of flame and shadow. When the light fades, only ash remains where the emperor stood. Marcus drops to his knees, exhausted. The arena falls silent but for the rain. Livia touches his shoulder. "It's over," she whispers. Yet beneath the earth, the faint heartbeat continues. Smoke still clings to the air as the first rays of morning pierce the broken arches. Rome lies hushed. No trumpet sounds, no crowds gather. Marcus leads Livia and Gaius through the debris-strewn tunnels, the silence pressing heavier than stone. The scent of burned metal and blood follows them. Livia clutches a fragment of bronze, Domitian's staff, now cracked and cold, and whispers that the Emperor's promise of eternity was only the beginning. Marcus looks toward the light spilling from above. The Colosseum's once perfect circle, now a jagged wound in the earth. Rome will rebuild, he says, voice hollow. But what it rebuilds upon will never sleep again. Outside the Colosseum, the streets of Rome stand deserted. Statues lie toppled, aqueducts cracked. The few citizens who remain peer from windows, their eyes reflecting the orange haze rising from the east. Livia kneels beside a fountain gone dry, tracing runes newly burned into the marble, symbols she saw below. The god's mark has spread. Marcus kneels beside her, despair and duty battling behind his eyes. If this is Rome's legacy, she murmurs, then history will remember our arrogance, not our glory. He replies quietly, then let history have the truth. By midday, Titus returns with what remains of his soldiers. Their armor is dented, eyes hollow. He kneels before Marcus, confessing that the arena's beasts turned on their handlers before the eruption. None survived below. He demands orders, but Marcus only shakes his head. There is no command left, he says. Livia steps forward, voice steady. Then we begin again. We seal the tunnels, burn the records, and bury the sin beneath silence. Titus nods, and for the first time since dawn, the three share a fragile unit, a vow of denial in a city that thrives on spectacle. Night falls again, but the light never fully dies beneath the Colosseum. Marcus descends one last time to the lower chambers. He carries no torch, guided only by memory. He stops before the sealed fissure, listening. There is no whisper now, only the faint pulse of the earth. Calm, waiting. He kneels, pressing a hand to the stone. We built you a monument, he murmurs, and in return you built us a memory. As he turns away, the faint sound of breath rises from below, softer than wind, endless as time. Weeks later, Rome celebrates a new emperor. The Colosseum's gates are repaired, its sand cleaned, the blood hidden beneath fresh marble. Livia watches from the crowd, scrolls clutched under her arm. The true history she vowed to protect. Beside her, Gaius watches the arena floor, silent as ever. Trumpets blare, and the crowd roars anew. Yet beneath the cheers, she feels the vibration under her feet. Steady, patient, alive. She whispers to herself, the empire never falls. It only forgets. The camera pulls back as the Colosseum gleams under the sun, its shadow stretching like a wound across the city. Night falls over a city pretending nothing happened. Yet the Tiber runs dark, carrying ash from the Colosseum's wounds. Marcus wakes from a dream of stone and blood, hearing the whisper again, not calling his name, but Rome's. He walks through streets littered with broken statues, realizing the empire itself is shifting, restless. Every triumphal arch feels like a tomb. Livia finds him by the river, warning that Domitian's priests have not disbanded. They gather by moonlight, promising resurrection. Marcus looks at the reflection of Rome's fires on the water and says, you can rebuild walls, but not silence. In the catacombs beneath the Forum, Livia and Marcus follow the faint hum of chanting. Torches line the narrow path, the air thick with incense and fear. They find Cassius, alive and cloaked, leading a circle of zealots around a pit lined with molten markings. He lifts Domitian's signet ring, declaring the god's covenant unbroken. Marcus lunges, breaking the circle, scattering flames. The pit shrieks, a wind roaring upward. Cassius' eyes blaze gold before the light consumes him, leaving only the ring, still hot, still beat. Livia whispers that belief itself is the true prison. Above, thunder cracks as the Forum trembles. From the fissures in the paving stones, red steam rises, carrying whispers in every tongue of Rome's conquered nations. People flee the temples, Marble gods crumble. Livia races toward the Colosseum, realizing the heart of the storm is there. Marcus follows, clutching the still beating ring. The wind turns metallic, tasting of blood and bronze. "It wants to finish what we stopped," he shouts. Livia's reply cuts through the roar. "Then we end it in its own heart." The city lights dim as the arena ignites once more. They reach the arena. Lightning strikes the outer walls, carving molten lines through stone. Inside, sand swirls in violent spirals. Gaius waits near the center, eyes distant, speaking for the first time. It remembers. His voice is not his own. The ring in Marcus' hand glows, dragging him toward the pit. Livia grabs him, shouting that to destroy it he must let it take him. Marcus meets her gaze and nods. He steps into the light, pressing the ring into the earth. The arena blazes white. The roar of 1,000 lost souls erupts. Then, silence. When the light fades, dawn returns, pale and trembling. The Colosseum lies in ruin again, its stones cracked but silent. Livia kneels where Marcus stood. Only his cloak remains. Gaius lies unconscious beside her, the glow gone from his eyes. She gazes at the rising sun over the shattered city, knowing the god has retreated. For now. The Empire's heart still beats, but slower, humble. Livia gathers the fragments of Marcus's designs and whispers, "We built eternity and found its price." The wind answers softly, carrying his voice. "Remember." Weeks pass and Rome pretends once more that nothing has changed. The Senate crowns a new emperor, temples reopen, and the crowd's laughter returns to the Colosseum's shadow. Yet beneath the city, the air hums faintly, an echo too soft for most to hear. Livia walks alone through the forum, scrolls hidden beneath her cloak, her steps echoing like unanswered questions. She pauses before a statue of Domitian being melted for new bronze. "History will cast gods into emperors," she whispers, "and emperors into myths." Above her, thunder rolls despite a clear sky, the reminder of something unfinished. By night, Livia visits Marcus' former workshop. The air smells of cedar and oil. Blueprints cover the tables, curling at the edges, drawings of machines meant to move stone and open gates deep beneath the arena. She lights a single lamp and runs her hand across his handwriting, the ink faded but alive. She realizes Marcus never built a monument to Rome. He built a warning. Outside, wind rattles the shutters like a ghost, demanding entry. Livia closes the lamp, sealing the room in darkness. "You are remembered," she whispers, and for a heartbeat she feels his presence answer in the still air. Far below, unseen by any soul, the sealed chamber stirs again. Cracks web the stone like veins of molten glass. Within, the faint outline of Marcus's form lies preserved in ash, hand still pressed to the earth. The whispering voice has changed. It no longer commands, it mourns. The god's hunger has cooled into waiting. Dust drifts upward in slow spirals, as if drawn toward the surface, toward Rome's heartbeat. The scene holds for a long breath before the ash collapses inward, leaving only a single bronze ring, pulsing once, then falling still. At dawn, Livia stands on Palatine Hill overlooking the awakening city. The first rays strike the Colosseum's ruins, turning them to gold. Gaius stands beside her, silent as ever, the faintest smile touching his lips. He has begun to speak again, only in fragments of dreams, words she doesn't understand. Lydia places a hand on his shoulder. "Then let Rome dream," she says. The boy looks to the horizon where the sun burns through morning haze, and for a moment, the city seems cleansed, reborn through memory rather than power. As the day brightens, Rome hums with life once more. Merchants shout, chariots rattle, laughter returns to the streets. The camera rises slowly above it all. the city sprawling like a living map of memory. Beneath, unseen, the sealed chambers pulse, once with faint light, then fade to darkness. Livius' voice echoes over the panorama. Empires fall, but the earth remembers every sound we carve into it. The Colosseum stands not for Rome's glory, but for its warning. The screen drifts toward the arena's shadow, stretching across the city, merging with the Tiber's dark curve until both become one.